Ladies and gentlemen, is Saturday Night Vlog with your host, Franklyn McInnis. Enjoy the show. Yes, people, I finally did it. I changed up my background, and here it is. And this background, I'm sure some people are looking at it and saying, this makes no sense. But it does, because these are favorites. That's why they're up here. Okay, these are just my current favorites right now, so that is the reason why they're up here. And I know they're from all different sorts of series and genres, but that's what happens when you put favorites together. I'm not going to talk about all of these. I'll just point out a few here. Crystal Heisenberg is out of his box, and that's because the seller that sold him to me is about as trustworthy as some of the characters on the series Breaking Bad. He sent him to me in a damaged box, which he tried to blame on the post office. No way that the post office put a pin mark on the box. You know, I'm not an idiot, so yeah, he wasn't the most honest seller. And then also the figure has a little bit of damage to it. But I've seen that damage on some other people's Crystal Heisenbergs as well. So maybe that was just an issue within the factory. Who knows? But it's still a pretty good looking figure. Still one of my favorites. So yeah, that's why he's up there. Moving on here. The Green Goblin Chase figure, which I'm sure catches some people's eyes right away, and he's center stage for a reason. It's not just because this is the only Chase figure that I found in the wild. It's also because this is the first figure that I gave away on my channel. I found two of them, kept one for myself, and then I used the other one for my first giveaway, which to some people to this day probably still sounds insane considering the value of that figure. But that it's not about the money, you know, for me. It's not about flipping. Definitely, I'm not into that. So, you know, I like to just make people happy, and I think that was a really good choice for our first giveaway. Moving on here, we got these little Gotham figures I've talked about recently on my channel. You can go back and check those videos out. Jules here, Pulp Fiction. I don't have Vincent yet. I may try to get Vincent to join up with his buddy here. In fact, I might like the blood splattered Vincent if I can get my hands on it. And actually, I would like the blood splattered Jules as well, but I know that's a long shot. I got some other favorite movie characters here. Also have some favorite TV characters along with Crystal Heisenberg, my favorite Walking Dead characters, Carol, and then we also have Morgan down there. And I really like what's been going on between these characters, the relationship. There's sort of friendship possibly developing there, but we'll see what happens as the series continues on. Some of my Batman figures here that I really like, I had to keep them up here. I think I may have mentioned on my channel before that I'm a Harley Quinn fan, but if you don't know, yeah, I'm a Harley Quinn fan. So yeah, I have a pink and white Harley Quinn, which unfortunately has a glare going on right there. And then the Dorbs and the Mystery Mini as well. Taskmaster, I think people may know by now, is one of my favorite Marvel villains. I still wish he would get some more attention. And then I don't really have to say much more about the rest of these. If you've been watching my videos, you're pretty caught up on why these figures are important to me or why I really like them. And I will mention again quickly that Morgan was the very first pop figure that I ever bought. And I just won't forget the date, December 26th of last year is when I started my pop collection, and it did start off with that figure. I do want to show you quickly some figures that didn't quite make the cut on this shelf and explain quickly why they didn't. I already had the black and white suit Punisher, which I think just edges out the Punisher Nemesis figure just a little bit, even though the Punisher Nemesis figure has more going on with this paint detail. Still, the black and white is just classic. But if I manage to get the Thunderbolts version, then I might have to pull a switch there, because I think the Thunderbolts one is the best looking one. Another one here that didn't quite make the cut, Brock Lesnar. He needs his Suplex City shirt. You know, if you had that going on, then maybe he'd be up on that shelf. But no Suplex City shirt, so I'm going to have to just F5 him on out of here. And the reason I got Brock Lesnar, I may have mentioned this before, is that I'm not really a huge wrestling fan. I mean, I watch highlights, but mainly it's because Brock Lesnar was in the UFC, which I am a fan of, even though that company needs to kind of get their act together. Not doing so great right now. Iron Spider, another one that didn't quite make the cut. Originally, I didn't even like this figure, and now I think I must be crazy because, yeah, this one has definitely grown on me. I like the details there, the little web shooter on his hand. I'm assuming that's a web shooter. I didn't actually read the original Civil War comic series. And then back here, the metallic arms going on, or mechanical arms going on. Very cool. And I really do like the color. So yeah, that one grew on me quickly. Black Panther, I think everybody that owns this figure talks about how great the details are on it. He just got edged out slightly there by Falcon. But if the glitter version looks really cool, that Walmart exclusive, which should be on the way who knows when, if that one looks really cool, then I may have to find space for it up here on this shelf. Last one that didn't quite make the cut is special to me because, yes, it's another Deadpool, I know, but what makes this one special is that this was purchased as a gift from my oldest friend, a friend that I've had for over 20 years. And for somebody like me that has done a lot of moving in my lifetime, it's pretty amazing to even have a friend that I've known for over 20 years. And also, he's not super into these sorts of things. He's not really the geeky type. He does like action movies, basically. I don't think he even looks at them as comic book movies. He looks at them as action movies. So he's really not huge on this stuff, but just the fact that he got this for me and he understands that I'm really into this hobby of collecting pop figures and other collectibles, I think that's pretty cool. So yeah, I'm going to keep this one up top with the other about, let me see, 6.1 million Deadpools that I have up there. So yeah. But let's keep the show moving on, people. And yes, like I said, this is going to be the background for a little while here. But I will try to keep things a little more flexible and keep it interesting for you all. I just sat Freddy Krueger down on my shelf. Now, if I did that, obviously there must be a reason for that. And yeah, there is a reason, of course. It's because I got a box here. And this box came from Delilah, Mrs. Funko Pop, another YouTuber, one of my favorite YouTubers. I really do like her videos. I like her channel. So she sent me a little package here. She was very grateful that she won one of my giveaways. It was the Deadpool box that I gave away. And let me do stress this, people. When I do my giveaways, I don't expect anything in return. You know, if people want to send me a little something, that's nice. It's completely not necessary, though. It's really not necessary. But let's just see what she sent me and what in the world does it have to do with Freddy Krueger. Some of you may have figured it out already. So I finally get a close-up look here at Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th. Already I'm liking the detail that I'm seeing here, the rips and the jacket. But you see a couple on the back here as well. I was really curious too if he was going to have much detail going on the back of his head. And I do like the way that the mask is held together here with that ring there. You do see some detailing going on his head. Not super detailed, but still it looks pretty cool, pretty accurate for the character. Definitely like the way that they did his eyes here, which is the way that his eyes tend to be when the mask is off. As far as the unmasked version is concerned, I think I've mentioned this before, some pop figures, they're a little too creepy looking for me to have to stare at all the time, so I don't know if I'd really want the unmasked Jason Voorhees, but this one is pretty cool. And as far as detailing goes, I think he's pretty comparable to Freddy Krueger. These are both good representations of the characters. And so finally, now that I have both of these characters here together, I get to act out Freddy versus Jason. So maybe I'll run a nice bath and get them in the tub with me later on and just play around with that. But I don't know, I'll figure it out. But again, Delilah, Mrs. Funko Pop, thank you so much for getting Jason Voorhees to me. You so didn't have to do that, but I really do appreciate it. And now that I have these two fellas here, I think there is one more famous slasher I would like to get. I think I said before, I'm not a huge Michael Myers fan. I'm really not worrying about him. I know there are some other horror figures. Pinhead is not necessarily a slasher character, but again, not a huge Hellraiser fan. But as far as Leatherface is concerned, I definitely think I would like to add him along with these two characters. And that way, I just thought about it. If I get Leatherface, then I'll have all of the characters that have been featured in the Mortal Kombat games, which that'll be pretty cool too. So yeah, I'm actually going to look for Leatherface probably this weekend. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and tell you what's going on this weekend. And as a matter of fact, really, I should say, as of the time of you watching this video, I'm actually away from home. I am in Raleigh, North Carolina, visiting a friend, the friend that I mentioned earlier, my longest time friend that I've known for over 20 years. He and I have gone to my very first Comic-Con, okay, the Oak City Comic-Con in Raleigh, North Carolina. So, wish me luck. It's kind of weird with YouTube, but I'll just say this. Wish me luck and hope that I had a good time since I will have already been there. That's some trippy Back to the Future type stuff. But yeah, hopefully I had a good time, and hopefully I found some cool pop figures that I can share with you all in the upcoming days here. And also, I'm definitely going to upload some video footage from that Comic-Con. So there are some UFC pops on the way. As a matter of fact, some UFC pops are actually already out in the open, out in the wild. And I'll just let these all come up here real quick first and show you the ones that I've seen listed as being available very soon. Out of these 6, the only 2 that I'm interested in are Anderson Silva, who I think is the greatest of all times, even though maybe his best days are past him now. And Ronda Rousey, I think I would also want to get that pop figure. I think she's just, a cool person overall. And I think she's going to come back strong. Maybe she just needs to let go of some of that Hollywood focus, because I notice when especially UFC fighters, athletes in general, but especially UFC fighters, once they get focused on Hollywood, their fight career goes downhill pretty quickly. So, like I said, hopefully she'll let some of that go and continue with fighting for a while. And, the movie opportunities and all those things, they're going to be there for her. But I really want to talk to those of you that are UFC fans, that are MMA fans. I want you to let me know, what do you think about what is going on with the company right now? Because me personally, I'm not happy with the UFC lately. I think some of the issues I'm seeing, there's just not enough people getting a shot at the belts. It's like the same matchups again and again. That gets pretty boring, and I think it's unfair. I really don't even understand why you would have a ranking system if you're just going to ignore it and just throw together these matchups just because it's big names, or whatever. The rankings should matter, and other people that are doing well should get a shot at a belt. Also, this deal that they made with Reebok, that cut out a lot of revenue for a lot of fighters. They lost their sponsorships, or they're not able to wear the logos on their clothing. I think that's kind of foul. And supposedly they get some of that money from Reebok, but I can't imagine that is as much as they would get off their own personal sponsorships. Also, and I know this is not on the company itself, this is really on the fighters in the gyms. Some of these fighters, they just overwork themselves. There are a lot of injuries that end up pretty much ruining major events, and I understand that they got to train on a regular basis, but at the same time, it's just like they got to take it easy to a certain extent as well, because it's ridiculous how many events have been ruined by injuries. So those are just some of my gripes with the UFC right now. I just don't think the company is what it was just a few years ago. It's definitely lost a lot of the luster, and it's starting to feel like professional boxing to me, which I can't even enjoy professional boxing anymore. In fact, one thing that the UFC has in common with professional boxing now is that when it goes to decision, there's no telling what's going to happen. There's no telling if it's always going to be what you saw. Basically, there's no telling how those decisions will turn out. And that's very unfortunate. And then also, this may have not been as much of an issue in professional boxing, or maybe it is. I don't know, because I'm just not into it much anymore. But finding out that some of these fighters are using performance enhancers, that's very disheartening as well. Very disappointing. So, yeah, those are just my thoughts on the company. But I want to hear from you that are UFC fans. What do you think about what's going on with the company? What do you think about these pop figures? Also, what other fighters would you like to see as pop figures? Me personally, I think they definitely need to do a Chuck Liddell one. Even though Tito Ortiz used to drive me crazy sometimes with his attitude and everything, he's still one of the greats. He's one of the first big names in the company. I think he would deserve a figure as well if they have the rights to his name. Also, if they have the rights to Rampage Jackson. I know he was kind of in and out of the UFC and there was some bad blood there at times. But if they have the rights to him as well, they've got to do a Rampage Jackson with the chain around his neck. That would be cool to make him stand apart, because the problem with some of these fighters is that they're going to come out looking sort of plain at times. I mean, you look at BJ Penn down there in the bottom left. That's a pretty plain looking pop figure, not very interesting looking. So the fighters that have elements that'll help them stand apart, I think that's going to help this line a lot. But again, those of you that are UFC fans, just let me know, what do you think about the company, and what other fighters would you like to see as pop figures? Don't get confused, people. You didn't accidentally skip backwards in the video. This is another box. But this is a box here that came from Eric. No, not Eric Foreman, not Eric Stoltz, not Eric Roberts, but Eric as in Symbiotically Geeky. Symbiotically Geeky. Again, that's another YouTuber who, if you haven't checked out his channel, you really need to do so. He's a pretty cool YouTuber. What I mainly like about him is that he just tells it how it is, and that's my nature as well. He just tells it how it is. He's very clear about how he feels about certain items that he gets within subscription boxes and things like that. And like me, he also got the Vinyl Palooza box, but he got a figure that he didn't care about at all, while I, on the other hand, actually wanted that figure and assumed I would get it since I saw other people getting that figure in the box. But like I said, I didn't get it, so he was nice enough to do a trade with me. And let me go ahead and get this figure out and show you exactly what it is. So thanks to Symbiotically Geeky, I now have Yondu from Guardians of the Galaxy. And if you actually know anything about the comic series, he was a member of, I believe, the original team. So that's why he was featured in the movie. He was actually one of the original members. The team that was featured in the movie is one of the more modern versions of the team, and the roster has changed over time. But I really do like this character. I really like the character in the movie, especially when he made use of that weapon of his, that dart that moves when he whistles. That is a really cool idea for a weapon. And the actor, he's a really great actor as well. He played Merle on The Walking Dead. Even though I felt that character was written very inconsistently, overall I still liked the character. I thought his arc was interesting overall, even though they tried to force a redemption towards the end there. But still, pretty good actor. And I actually like that they let him use his voice, his style of speaking within the movie. I thought that was pretty cool. As far as this series goes, I also have the collector, And I do have Thanos. Unfortunately, it's not the glow-in-the-dark Thanos, but I may still end up getting that glow-in-the-dark one later on, even though I already have a Thanos. Not worried about Ronan. I may get Nebula if I find her at a good price. I could care less about a dancing Groot. I think just too many Groots, too many potted Groots. If I'm going to get Groot, I would actually prefer to get Angry Groot or Moss Green Groot or just the regular Groot even. But the potted ones, I'm kind of tired of seeing those around. Just too many of them. But yeah, I'm very happy to have this figure now, and got to go ahead and find a good spot for him on my shelf. I did make some other trades this week, but I'm not going to talk about those until I actually get the packages in. I did go ahead and send all my packages out. As a matter of fact, I broke a record for myself. I altogether mailed out 6 packages this week. They weren't all trades. At least one of them, or maybe 2 of them, were gifts. But yeah, like I said, I'm just going to wait until I get those packages back in, so then I can give shout outs to the people that I traded with, which for the most part, they were YouTubers. And I've had really good experiences in trading with my fellow YouTubers. Just some really kind people overall. I still have one more figure that I know I could find a better home for, BB-8. Even though I really like this character, I really enjoyed the character in the movie, I just know that somebody could appreciate him a lot more. Star Wars figures I don't tend to keep around in my collection just because I know I'm not that strong enough of a fan, even though I do like Star Wars overall. So yeah, I'm going to try to trade this guy at some point. Hopefully I can find somebody that loves Star Wars and doesn't already have this particular figure, and they have something I'm interested in to trade. Now, I am not going to give you any release dates this week like I've done in some of my previous videos, and the reason why is because I want you to make sure that you check down in the description. I'm going to have a link to a video by Popcom. That's Popcom. Popcom. I want you to check them out. They used to be called Pop Track AZ, but they had a name change, and they did a video this week in which they gave some upcoming release dates, some really good information. So yeah, check out Popcom and make sure that you do subscribe to that channel. I do want to give shout outs to some other channels here as well. I already mentioned Symbiotically Geeky. Of course, I'll put a link to his channel as well. And Delilah, Mrs. Funko Pop, I'll put a link. And there's going to be a couple of links going on here. And I also want to mention Pop Hunter SC. He did a name change to his channel as well. He kind of started up fresh. He has a channel now called Southern Toy Squad, and that is, in fact, I don't have to say it. You'll see the link down there. Okay, I was about to say exactly how to spell it out because he does have some, I don't even know what you call that punctuation down there, that little punctuation mark, but yeah, you'll see the link down there in the description. I do want you to check his channel out as well. He's not going to just focus on Funko products anymore, although he did recently just put up a video that he found some good Funko finds. I'll just say that, and make sure you check that video out. Okay, and then also I want to give a shout out to FunkoVision. I've been checking his videos out recently. I know he did some pop hunting down in Orlando, came back with some good finds, and he hunts on a regular basis, and he constantly has videos going on, and it's just cool to see what he finds. His collection is really growing rapidly. I don't know what he has altogether, but it's got to be growing pretty rapidly because he hunts on a regular basis. And then also, somebody who is absolutely killing it right now, Solid Unboxing, which some of you are probably already familiar with that channel, but if you're not, you need to be. His channels are really good. Obviously, with that title, you know that he does unboxings. So what I really like about them, though, I mean, a lot of people do unboxings, but it's just the editing that he does, the effects that he does, the overlays, just all the work that he puts into it is so on point that it makes the videos really entertaining. So yeah, Solid Unboxing. If you're not already familiar with them, like I said, you need to be, and I will put a link in the description for him as well. Now, you may have noticed that I didn't have a pop of the week, and that's the reason why is because, I mean, I do like the pops that I got this week. And, it was nice to get Yondu. It was nice to get Jason Voorhees. But, I'm going to that Comic-Con, the Oak City Comic-Con, and I just know I'm going to find something special there. And, I will share that with you all next week, You know, you'll hear about it next week, but that's why I'm not giving a pop of the week. And like I said, I already told you why I'm not giving release dates. Popcom, they got you covered on that this week. So yeah, this is just a quick closing here. You know, much quicker than usual. I know, sorry about that, but like I said, don't let your night or your morning or whenever you're checking this out, don't let your time end there on YouTube. Please do check out these other YouTubers. Check out their channels. Subscribe if you haven't. And that's it for me for right now. Thank you for watching, especially if you watch this all the way through. That really means a lot to me. I really do appreciate it. You know, and as always, you support me, I support you, and we support each other. That's what it's all about. You all take care.